This session is Social Media for SMBs with Sherean Malekzadeh Allen. If you guys haven't met Sherean yet, she's an amazing woman. I've worked with her for a couple of years at her company, New Thought Marketing. She is beyond accomplished. She's a marketing professional with 20 plus years experience in marketing, sales, and advertising. She was the VP of Sales and Marketing at a social media startup before Facebook was around called Supergroups. So she's way ahead of the game. She's also worked with companies like Cox and Turner before she started NTM in 2001. She is a regional Emmy nominee. She's won multiple Addy Awards. Her projects have been featured by CNN, New York Times, MTV, CNET, Wall Street Journal, Time, PC Magazine.
Not Wall Street Journal, they just interviewed me.
Wow, she was interviewed by Wall Street Journal. So the list goes on and on. She is very entertaining speaker. I think you guys will really enjoy her. So come on out.
No pressure. Thanks. Thanks, Tiffany. Good morning. So Tiffany's quiet. She's like the behind-the-scenes brains behind the operation that is New Thought Marketing, I must say. I always joke that she's my secret weapon, although the secret is truly out. As she said, my name is Sherean Malekzadeh Allen. Malekzadeh is Persian. I had somebody ask earlier, and it means son of kings. And Sherean means sweet. So take of that what you will. So today we're going to talk about social marketing for small and medium-sized businesses. How many of you guys manage the social media for your own company? Okay, quite a few. And how many manage it for an agency? Okay, so for those of you that manage it for an agency, there's going to be some information in here that you can use to pitch your clients or retain your clients. So my first question, should you use social media to promote your business? I can't believe people are still asking me this question. Yes. If you want to communicate with your customers. If you don't, then no. Does it cost money? Unfortunately, yes. I still have a lot of small businesses that this really pisses off because for years the Facebook gravy train was free. It's not anymore. Although you can still do a lot of free on Twitter and Instagram and other platforms. Oh, wait, sorry. Can you hire a college student or an intern? No. Pretty much no. They'll be able to handle the technology of it. In fact, they might even be better at that than I am, but they're not usually, unless they're marketing students, they're not typically as well versed at communication skills. And that's one of the most important things. I think it's one of the things that differentiates good social media strategies from just so-so social media strategies is the ability to actually talk and understand your customer. And is it just for B2C companies? This question came up yesterday. A lot of people struggle with this with B2B, and John Waddy talked a little bit about that. We're going to touch on that today too. Your customers are still people, and people like to do business with people that they like. So you can have social media pages that are likable and relatable that say, hey, I get you as a customer, and use those to help develop and foster those relationships beyond what your salesperson might be doing. So I've got some stats. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on stats. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on data. This presentation will be up on SlideShare, so you can have access to it. But when somebody asks, should you be on social media or not, I always say 71% of the internet is on social media, so probably yes, your customers are there. If your customers are women, 77% of them use social media. I have clients who, I might call out Barry a little bit. He's like, oh yeah, my wife does that. When we first met, there's a lot of that. So the numbers for the rest of the channels all hover around 25%. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use them, but if you're a small business and you have limited time and bandwidth, depending on what industry you're in, and we'll talk a little bit about that, Facebook should probably be one of your primary, if not your primary source. It's the top internet activity, surpassing email. Okay, so social's many roles. When you actively manage your social pages, you will come to know your customers by name. So even though we have 3 or 4 folks that work with me, I still manage a couple of our pages. And there's a little restaurant that we have in Bardstown, Kentucky, burrito restaurant. You're going to see a lot of their posts. We have Uncle Mattio's. We've done a lot of work for Uncle Mattio's all over the country. And we were doing work for their Louisville restaurant. And I got to know one of the women who was a customer. She's now a Facebook friend. And when I was up in Louisville, she came out to see me. So you will actually get to know them, and that's great because then you can use that information and those people that you get to know, and you can use your social media channels as focus groups. You can test out new products. You can test out product name ideas. You'll get to know some of these people. You can private message them and ask them for tips or insight. A lot of times they'll step in and help you if there's a problem. If you don't have a brick and mortar store, your social pages are your showroom. I know your website is, and you've got all that beautiful photography, but people will spend more time on your social media pages looking for information and looking to interact with you. So your social media people are your salespeople. They are the ones that are walking around the showroom answering the questions. We get questions about what the special of the day is. Are you closed or open for this holiday? If it's an online-only online-only business, like we were doing work for a consumer mattress company, we get on social media, which mattress should I buy? Even though we had a questionnaire and a tool on the website, they're asking us on Twitter or on Facebook, which mattress should I buy? What's your return policy? Can I finance it? With restaurants, we'll get complaints. So your social media people need to be empowered, and they need to have a list of all of that information, just as if they worked for you, as if they were a sales or customer service person. They also need in their toolkit freebies to give out for oopses and apologies. So I remember one day we did a $3.14 pizza promotion from Uncle Matteo's for Pi Day. And we promoted it, and we didn't spend any money to promote this. We actually did all this organically on social. The line was so long out the door that the store closed temporarily. And you can imagine how social blew up and how I, sitting here in Atlanta, didn't know what was going on there in Louisville. But of course, I knew all the store managers and everybody so that I could call and yell and scream at them, which I did. And then, of course, if people have a problem with your company, they're not going to call you anymore. They're going to go on social media and bitch about you. And if you're lucky, they'll do it on your pages, because if they do it on your pages, then you have an opportunity to go in there and apologize. There's a lot of research that shows if you go in to your Yelp or any of your other social media pages and you apologize and you try to make it good, people actually feel better about you and your brand than if all you had was positive glowing reviews. Because they think you're real. Everybody has a bad day. Just own it and fix it. Unless they post it on their private Facebook page like my friend Phil did here when he had a bad experience at TGI Fridays. Well, Fridays happened to be my client. So this was lucky that I happened to be online, saw Phil complaining, and of course knew the store manager's number so that I could call and get this rectified. But that happens all the time and you don't get to see it, unfortunately. So you want to do as good a job as possible on your public pages so that people know that you're there and you're willing to help. In fact, with Fridays, I'll just tell a little story. When I was meeting with their operations director, they really pride themselves on their operations. They feel like they have great customer service. So I said, let's go check out Yelp. I want to see, tell me your top store. It was Camp Creek Parkway. So I went and I checked out their top store and had 3-star reviews. And I said, I don't really expect Fridays to have 5-star. 3 stars, if that's your flagship store, we might have a problem. So we went in and we read and we looked, and he had no idea these things were going on. Because, and this was years ago, you guys, they fixed all this since. But back then, their model for customer service was you called this 800 number, and they had a whole system in place for how to handle that, how to contact you, how to reward you, how to make you come back. But they didn't have any way to do that online. So we had to fix that. Oh, sorry, mobile. Okay, so I'll let you guys look at this data later, but just know this. Facebook is getting 76% of its advertising revenue from mobile in second quarter of this year. That's up from 60-some% last year. People are accessing social media on their mobile devices 60% of the time. Most of us in this room design our cover pages, our cover images for Facebook. We design all of our images for Twitter or Instagram or whatever. A lot of them we are designing those on a computer. And if you're doing it on your own, maybe you're going on PicMonkey and you're using their little Facebook cover image creator thing. And then you go and you look on your phone and the text isn't showing up. So you need to understand that the difference between the way it looks on a computer and the way it looks on a phone, and it's not that it's not being responsive, it's that the safe area for that is different. And we've got all that on here, but I'm not going to go through it, but it'll be on SlideShare so that you can have all that data for yourself for when you design. Okay, so where do you start? First thing you need to start, and this is marketing 101, is who's your customer. And don't tell me it's a woman who's a mom who's 25 to 54 years old. That's not helpful. Tell me it's Lisa, who is 30, 29 years old, right? With 2 sons. She drives an SUV. Tell me what kind, is Lexus? I don't know what it is now. Honda Odyssey. Tell me whether or not she goes to church. Tell me what kind of clothes she wears, where she shops. Tell me that she uses Instacart instead of going to the grocery because she's a working, busy mom. So you actually want to develop a persona. It's so much easier to write if I'm writing for Lisa or if I'm writing for Jordan. You're hard to write for, though, Jordan. If I'm writing for Lisa or Jordan, than it is to write for these generic demographic categories. So by all means, create some persona. It's fun. Cut out pictures from those old magazine things that you might have to ask in your neighborhood if anybody has any you can borrow. To get social, you need to be social. So we get a lot of our ideas by following people in our own feeds, right? So for Earth Day, I put up on one of our pages, Happy Earth Day, suck at Mars. So I don't know if Everett's in the room, but my friend Everett wrote that on his personal Facebook page, and I was like, stealing. So he's speaking later this week, actually. I get a lot of good ideas on Twitter by whatever is trending in the conversations. I'll see stuff there, I'll find funny jokes, and I'll take those and I'll repurpose them for brands. So how do you figure out which channels to use? So if you have an e-commerce business, Pinterest is selling a lot of products, so you definitely need to be on Pinterest. Instagram is working super well for commerce sites. There's a little company called Freshly Picked. Has anybody heard of Freshly Picked? Lisa, have you heard of Freshly Picked? They sell, back in the day, she had these like little handmade leather moccasins for babies. $60 moccasins for babies. I have had a baby. That baby's gonna wear that for 3 months, and then you're gonna buy another $60 moccasin, which by the way, babies don't even need shoes. Her Instagram page, I've forgotten how many, if she's up to 1 million followers or what, but phenomenal. And her tone, her brand tone, so friendly, so conversational. She'll post pics that people post of their babies in her shoes, and she'll repost them, and she's always just, so effervescent. It's like, oh, I love this. Thanks, babe, for the new picture of so-and-so in my blah blah shoes. And then she does a really good job of creating urgency and a sense that things are selling out, whether they really are or not. She's like, ooh, such and such is back in the shop. Mustard yellow shoes. Okay. She went on Shark Tank and got a huge investment, and a big part of the reason was because of her social media following. And she did most of that on Instagram. So know that if you're a commerce company. If you're tech and B2B, of course, LinkedIn, everybody knows that. Although I gotta say, LinkedIn really works best for recruiters. You have to do a lot more work on LinkedIn, as a salesperson should. It's just another part of your networking tools. And then Twitter, Facebook, and SlideShare. There's a whole conversation we could have about B2B and social, which I'm only gonna touch on today. But if you wanna talk about that, by all means, call or email me and I'd be happy to share with you some tips on that. Okay, when you get started, you need a basic set of graphics. You guys already know you need to do a profile pic, you need to do those cover images, you need to make sure they work on mobile, right? You could also do some holiday graphics while you're at it, while you're paying that graphic designer. Go ahead and have them do some holiday graphics for you, or her. Get some product shots. I can't tell you how many times we have, even with brands who have quite a bit of money, that don't have shots of their product. And when you get shots of your product, get it in use. So I don't just want to see that laptop, I want to see somebody typing on it or using it. And then behind the scenes photos. People love to peek. So show them. Show them the product being made if you can. Show them pizza dough being mixed. Show them your people if they're at a conference, if this is B2B. People love behind the scene photos, and they're very forgiving. These don't need to be professional photos. You can shoot them with your, with your phone camera these days. And then it's a good idea to design a background for quotes and text. A background that's branded in your color so that you can write text over it and use that to share on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. You will not use that on Facebook. You will take that same text and just write it in a post, because if you want to pay to promote that, post on Facebook, it can't have any text beyond 20% of the image. So you need that, that graphic design background for shareable squares for everything except Facebook. Here's some examples of what I mean when I said you can go ahead and have this stuff knocked out ahead of time. So you can pay a graphic designer once for the whole year and get some images for holidays or other topical things, like right now on our OBGYN page for Think Pink for Breast Cancer Month. So we took their logo and we made it pink. They took a picture of something they did inside the doctor's office, and we put that up as a cover photo. It doesn't have to be fancy, guys. Sometimes it's fancy, like for Uncle Mattio's for Cinco de Mayo, we do Cinco de Mayo. So clever, isn't it? Happy Halloween. You can't read it, but it says pizza sauce, not blood. So you guys can do this and have fun with it ahead of time. We also will do profile pics. Oh, so I should mention everything in this presentation is stuff we have actually done for a small to medium-sized business, except for these two Hillary logos. I brought this up because a lot of people in the graphic design community were poo-pooing the Hillary logo. I totally got I knew what she was going to do with it. And this is in fact what she's done with it. They've changed it so that, wow, when I turn that way, can you hear me when I don't turn that way? Okay. Hello. So what she's done, I should have put it on the other side. What she's done is she changes it for different topical events. I know there was one where she had New Hampshire images in the logo, in the profile pic. That was for when the Supreme Court made the gay marriage decision. I assume the other one was for 4th of July. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Our Client Baker audiovisual, that's a Halloween one. For dermatology affiliates, which you may remember their logos blue and yellow, was patriotic for 4th of July. TGI Fridays, we got a little pink ribbon on there. This is just a way of saying, hey, we know what's going on, we're part of it. Okay, I am not going to go through all these slides, but they will be on SlideShare. But I want you to know that there are guidelines for you out there on how to design these cover images so that they're mobile safe and all of the other stuff you need. So we got them all in here for you. And by we, I mean Tiffany. I usually do mean that. So when you set up your Facebook page, there's a lengthy area in Facebook where you can go in and do all sorts of detail and information about your company. When people first check you out, they often will go to Facebook and they'll click on the About link. Facebook has this annoying habit of changing what fields are available in there frequently. So just because you did it 2 years ago doesn't mean it's done. So I would recommend you check it every few months, make sure it's still. And put keywords in there. Twitter has, of course, a short description. Include keywords. Instagram. How many of you guys are using Instagram? Okay. So you already know that you can't put a link in the comment, the caption, which is a pain. Like if you're running a contest on Instagram. So what you have to do on Instagram is what all the bloggers do is they say, check the link in profile. All the famous people do this, so you can be famous too. Do you follow Chrissy Teigen on Instagram, anybody? Totally hilarious, worth following. So you have to put the link in the profile. Pinterest. Pinterest really is a search engine. I mean, we call it social media. It's a search engine. Any moms in the room? Anybody planned a birthday party recently? Did you plan it without Pinterest? No, probably not. And did you even Google anything, or did you just go straight to Pinterest for, as I'm doing right now, robot birthday party ideas? Exactly. Are you decorating a house? Pinterest. No, I'm telling you, they just don't even use Google anymore. So that means all of your pins need to have hashtags for the keywords that you think people are going to search for you on. For those of you who are marketers in the room, it also means you don't have to post every day because people aren't reading Pinterest like a feed like they are the other social feeds. They're searching. So you can spend a lot of time getting a bunch of stuff up there and leave it alone for a little while. Or make a plan to do that once every couple weeks or once a month. Again, I'm talking for smaller, medium, not big brands. We are big on finding the original sources. We don't do a lot of repinning because a lot of times the links are broken. So I think it's worth the extra time to go in and find the original source. And because Pinterest is an extension of your brand, it should feel like you guys. We'll go in and we'll actually write original content for each of those pins. So here's an example from the mattress company. We, of course, we're positioning them as sleep experts, so duh, we had a bedroom board. And we talk about how we like how the posts on the bed draw your eye up and make the room seem larger. The large area rug helps with this too. Like, I know because I've been on Pinterest. Okay, posting guidelines. This drives me crazy. So many brands only post about their brand. A lot of my clients do this before I get a hold of them. And social is a social medium. The whole point is to have a two-way conversation and to show people that you get them, that you're one of them, that your brand is one of them. So do not inundate them with your specials, your products, your services. Don't do it. So I like a 3-to-1 ratio of non-selling to selling, but I'll accept a 2-to-1. and you'll see I've got a lot of ideas for how you can do those non-selling posts and have them still be relevant to your brand. Time of day to post. John had a slide on that earlier. I gotta tell you, we've looked at this and I don't know, you gotta test it for your client, for yourself. On Facebook, it doesn't matter because you're gonna pay to boost it anyhow, so you can do it anytime you want and then pay. Although for organic reach, I found 7 p.m. at night works really well. Just a little tip. Organic reach on Facebook now is about 3%. We tend to get 10 to 15, lucky us. We have a few tricks. One of them is use the day of the week in your post. So say Monday quote of the day or Motivation Monday. Links to news articles, which of course doesn't drive traffic to your site, but it's all part of building your brand. Those also tend to do really well organically. I already told you about the images and text. Oh, okay, when tragedy strikes, shut up. Pull your post. You look so stupid. Boston bombing marathon. All anybody's talking about on social is that. And then here you had that pre-scheduled thing about your lunch special or whatever. You look like an idiot. Don't do it. So the minute you see something trending or that everybody's talking about, and it's usually the big tragedy things, stop, go into your Hootsuite or whatever you're using and pull your posts. You go silent until the chatter settles down. You guys all know that, right? Did y'all do it? Oh, pictures, take your own. Stock photos, those are a really cheap site. We sometimes use 123RF. The big trend though right now in images for social media are images that look like Instagram. And there are actually websites out there, stock photo sites, 2020 is one of them, that are created images by users from mobile phones. So they have a much more real, natural effect. Sometimes you can just go in there and search for images and you'll get ideas for posts. You can do it backwards. Instead of writing and then going to look for the picture, go look at the pictures and see if you get any ideas for the posts. There's an online tool for everything. You need a GIF, there's a GIF maker. You need a cover image, there's a cover image maker. So if you're doing it yourself, you're not a graphic designer, you'll still find ways to do it. Think out of the box for images. So don't just Google like, I need a Christmas tree or Christmas. For our Uncle Matteo's, I Googled Italian Christmas tree. And don't you know I found a pizza tree? And we said, Buona Natale. And then I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do for the burrito place? Okay, let's try Mexican Christmas tree. And I found a cactus decorated with Christmas lights. So think out of the box. You'll never know what you'll find. Now most of these images and these image sites, you're getting images for $10. It's not expensive. How much to pay? So we have small local businesses that are spending $1 a day to boost their posts. You know, these are people that maybe have 600 followers. But if you think about that, let's say they're spending $50 a month. They used to spend $300 an ad on a little quarter-page newspaper ad that didn't do very much for them. So this is cheap in the scheme of things, even though to them it may seem like, oh. And we'd rather spend $20 a post, but I'm just telling you, you can spend as little as $1, depending on how local your audience is. And, okay, so here's a little, what I'm gonna call the clicks. So there are groups, there are private groups on Facebook. Are you members of any private groups here? Yeah. So there's a private group that I'm a member of, the Buckhead Brookhaven Referral Group, over 5,000 members. I can't tell you how many times somebody has said, oh, I want to buy this piece of furniture, or I need somebody to move this, da-da-da, and how many times I went in there and I go, use Kanga, use Kanga. And they don't pay me to do that. I know them, and they're friends of mine. They should pay me to do that. If you have local businesses, you need to find and join those groups. And before you start pitching yourself or your business, you need to participate. So when other people ask for things, you answer and help, and then you can start pitching yourself. I'm going to tell you about Misty Tucker, because I'm in awe of Misty Tucker. Every time anybody in that Buckhead Brookhaven group asks for gutter cleaning, and it happens a lot, somebody goes in there and says, "Oh, Misty Tucker's husband Sean does this." And for the longest time, I think we all thought Misty lived in Buckhead. She doesn't live anywhere near Buckhead. She joined the group, and she has done such a good job of weighing in on those conversations. So many people have now hired her that we all go in there and weigh in for her, as you can see what's happened. And she's a stay-at-home mom helping her husband with his business. So there's a lot you can do. You're just friendly. I gave you some links in there where you can go to search for groups so you can find some that are relevant to your industry. Content marketing. I hate that word. It's just a campaign. So here's what happens for the B2B marketers in here. You guys spent months on a white paper. Now you've turned it into a PowerPoint presentation that's on SlideShare, and maybe you sent a press release out about it, and then nothing. So stupid. You spent all that time. So take it and now create shareable graphics, little quotes. You can get mileage out of that sucker for a long time. And you can do the same thing in B2C. So with UPS, we were working with them, and we said, hey, what's one of the big questions people have at the holidays? How to ship cookies. Because I want to ship them and I don't want them to break. So why don't we do some videos on how to ship cookies on Vine and on YouTube? And then they did an infographic, actually we did an infographic on how to ship food for the holidays that had a whole bunch of stats and data on all the kinds of things people ship at the holidays. They sent that out as part of their press release. We didn't, but we could have done a contest for cookie recipes. You could have made a whole thing all around how to ship cookies. So don't kill yourself with content. Think about what you have and figure out ways to extend it. And then when you have that blog post, you can feed it to Facebook, Google+, you can tweet about it, you can post it to LinkedIn. You have the press release, the same kind of thing. Do a poll, take the poll results, turn it into a press release. I mean, any good PR person knows this stuff. Okay, where to get content. Here's where we get it and how we do it, some of the ideas. So you can do a Throwback Thursday or a Woman Crush Wednesday, some of the typical Motivation Monday. These are things that people see on social a lot. And don't think you can't, just because maybe it doesn't seem like a natural fit. And I'll give you an example. With Uncle Matteo's, I found a picture of flour, and I did a Throwback Thursday post. And I said, this is when our pizza was just a gleam in Matteo's eye. So you can take just about anything. And Woman Crush Wednesday, I did a lot of Woman Crush Wednesday posts for this conference. Every woman that was speaking, I had a crush on last Wednesday. Crazy holidays, just Google weird, strange holidays. There are all these lists. National Iced Tea Day. Well, of course, that was easy to do a promotion for Uncle Matteo's. Not so easy to think about for the dermatology client that we had. But I called and I said, is tea good for you, like your skin? As it turns out, it was. So we did it has antioxidants. So we used National Iced Tea Day, and we did some promotions for that. It was National Vanilla Ice Cream Day a couple months ago, and we had a picture of somebody eating ice cream on a bed that we used for the mattress client. So find those funny, weird holidays. People like them. Repost your customers' content with permission. If they've posted and tagged you, you can repost it. But a lot of times I'll reach out and I'll ask them anyhow. So maybe they post it on Twitter and I say, hey, do you mind if I post this on Facebook or on Instagram? It just gives you another opportunity to solidify that relationship. Thank your customers. I cannot tell you, our most popular posts are when I just say thanks. We really appreciate you. They are like, oh, you guys are so nice. Amazing. What's topical, what people are talking about, local events. So you have to kind of get in the habit of thinking about that. So anytime you see anything and think, okay, is there an application for A, B, C, D, E? It has to be a really good one too, guys. It can't just be cheesy because then people will stop following you. Real-time marketing during major events. It's not just for Oreo or Arby's. Do you remember when Ellen ordered pizza at the Oscars a couple years ago? So I'm on there going, great idea, wrong pizza. And I'm like, ooh, can I do anything for my burrito client? Pizza's good, but burritos would be better. I mean, seriously. Like, all you have to do is be constantly thinking about it, which is so much fun. Contests, how many of you guys do contests on social? Okay, it's a great way to particularly kick off a brand that has no followers. Like, what am I gonna do? Because I don't wanna just write and have nobody, right? So you wanna use one of the tools that they have out there that'll manage the contest for you. And then those tools will allow people who enter the contest to get extra entries for sharing it on social. So that helps you get more reach than what you can do on your own. Make sure you use a tool that allows people to opt into your email list. Some of them don't, or for some of them that's a fee. So make sure when you're looking at those tools, you find the ones that allow them to do that, because then you build an email list. You can also do contests without anything, like we would sometimes do. Like, it's Teacher Appreciation Day. Tag a teacher you love, and we'll choose 10 lucky teachers and you, and we'll give you a free blah, blah, blah. And all they're doing is tagging. But when they tag, it shows up on their feed, so yay. Stupid poems. I got an example of that coming up. Weather. It's great weather. Come out on the patio, or it's cold, blah, blah, blah. You can. Fun facts for your industry, quotes. You can get in the habit to have one day a week. On one of our clients' pages, every Sunday we do a quote. So we'll do inspirational quotes, or we'll do quotes related to something in the news that week. So like when, who was the baseball Yogi Berra that just died? So yeah, I mean, he had plenty of quotes. It was easy to do, right? On President's Day, that week, go find a quote from a president. And then, like I already told you, put day of the week in the update. Okay, fun. Here we go. Topical posts. Love is love. The day that the Supreme Court announced that big decision. Our mattresses support all families. You guys, we're a small shop. If we can do this, you can do it, I promise. It was one of our most popular posts that we ever did. When Kate had the first baby, I noticed on social media people were talking about how she wore a dress similar to Lady Diana, Princess Diana. So we put that on our OBGYN page. You remember John Travolta at the Oscars? So there were all sorts of generators the next day on how you could Travoltify your. So everybody was doing it on their Facebook page or Twitter for their personal name. I was like, let's do it for our brand. So that's Uncle Mattio's Travoltified. Jon Stewart. For our 1-year anniversary, my husband and I went to New York and we saw a taping of Jon Stewart's show. Some people go to Broadway, we went to the Daily Show. When he left, we created a post with the John Voyage tag. But here's an example of how you can do it for B2C and B2B. So for a B2B recruiter client, they posted Daily Show's top 10 leadership lessons. Topical post. This on the left with the shining moon that Tiffany told me was a terrible image. The blue moon. Everybody's talking about the blue moon on social. These are sometimes examples of things we don't think ahead of time and get approved by a client ahead of time, so we'll have to do it like that day or day before. But so we were like, good night, Star Street, and come around once on blue moon. This wasn't all that creative, but this was our top scoring in terms of engagement and likes post. It had over 120 likes. It reached over 3,000 people on a $20 spend. It's pretty good numbers. Gwen and Gavin broke up. Tragedy. Don't let this happen to you. Break up with your bed instead of your spouse. Hashtag campaign. So for UPS, we worked on a campaign. Because when you get a package from UPS, you're not getting a box. You're getting that toy that your kid's dying for. You're getting that pair of shoes you wanted. You're getting, in my case, cereal from Amazon. So we worked on a campaign for them.
He was so specific about what he wanted. And he has been very good this year. This is not a box. Love it. It's the perfect present
Hurry up.
for anyone.
So cool, look at it.
It's a very special gift for Daddy. Even your biggest kid.
Wear that.
So I have more slides, but I'm going to end there so I can take questions. And this is actually an interesting one to end on. So we had a whole series of Not a Box videos that were supposed to be on social, on YouTube, and then we were going to push them out through press channels. This was 2 years ago when UPS had all that horrible press because things were, 2 weeks late and there was all over. So they decided, not running it. So you guys are the only ones who've ever seen this besides my family. I do have more examples in here, including some B2B examples, or some funny holiday posts, what sun damage can do to your skin. Am I in your way? Pin it, twin it contests, how to work with bloggers. It's so cold out, I heard that hitchhikers were holding up pictures of their thumbs. So we did this one day when the store was closed, and everybody was home because of a big cold snowstorm. And then jokes. Here's an example of how I'll take the same joke, but I'll use it for different clients. What's the problem with twin witches? You never know which witch is which. From Matteo. For our OBGYN, we delivered twin witches today, and the dad exclaimed, how can I tell which witch is which? So use your ideas again. And then I gave you some freebies. Y'all can use these. Hump day humor. Food for thought, an apple a day keeps anyone away if you throw it hard enough. It's October. Did you hear about the zombie comic book? It's called YOLO, and it's full of irony. So take that and make it into a post for one of your brands. A haiku about Monday. Joan Rivers, on the Vanna White diet, you only eat what you can spell, and then spell whatever. Maybe coffee for some of the B2B folks. Knock knock, who's there? HIPAA who? I can't tell you that. This is one of our B2B clients. For Baker Audio Visual on Memorial Day or Veterans Day, they thanked their employees who had worked in the military. March Madness, is your first quarter ending like your March Madness bracket? Busted because an underdog came in and surprised you for a sales training company. And more. I'm going to take some questions now. Oh, actually, do one more thing. Twitter. So the way you can use Twitter without spending any money is you have to spend time. It's always the case, right? Time or money. So get in there and see what hashtags are trending and see if you can say anything. Why outside is overrated? Because inside is where the beds are. It's from the mattress company. Remember I told you to take pictures on your own? That's my kid on one of my clients' mattresses. That's my bedroom. Make marriage better in 4 words. Let's get more sleep. And then get in there. So Tiffany called me up. She was on her way to a concert. She said, somebody just tweeted us a poem. Memory foam mattresses look so fab. I'm sure it'd make the comfiest bed I've had. To get a great night's sleep, I'll continue to tweet. So she calls me. It was dinner time. She's like, can you write a poem real quickly? I was like, oh, okay. So I did. Our mattresses are fab indeed, so much so they're guaranteed. 100 nights to sleep in our sack. If you don't love it, money back. And that actually went on quite a while. But then I also will follow, you'll follow keywords for your industry. So we followed memory foam, and we saw somebody had said, this is not a laptop case, this is a memory foam cat mattress. And I said, we love memory foam and cats. And that is the funniest thing we've seen all day. You win Twitter. Yes, she writes back, where do I collect my medal? There's a medal, right? There's always a medal. I think I made that in Facebook. Here's who we are and how to reach us, and I'll take questions. Depends. A lot of times we'll wait an hour and we'll see how much Facebook is letting it out before we hit the boost button. But if we're in a really big hurry, we just go ahead and boost because we know that it's not going to get much organic reach and we need it. So particularly something that's really timely. Sometimes a trick you can use, let's say you've only got a $5 budget, go ahead and boost it for 20 and then cancel when you hit 5. So you got to pay attention, but that'll let it out faster. So particularly do that if you've got a special that's going on. We're a big fan of putting in $20 or $60 and canceling. It seems to let it out faster. Yes.
What are your thoughts on Facebook audience?
Sure. Fan of them? Also, it depends on if they've got followers or not. If they have followers, it really depends on what we're promoting. So for SuperNova, when we created a lot of custom audiences, Tiffany can speak more to what we did for specific industries.
They pulled their mailing list.
Yeah, we pulled mailing
And
lists.
then we also pulled their alumni list for publishers, so ads are running potentially to alumni saying like, hey, put them in.
Those ads had the highest click-through rates. You can also, if you've got a lot of followers, you do to your followers and friends of followers. Honestly, for a lot of small businesses, that's the cheap, easy, quick way to figure it out. What you're talking about is a little bit more advanced, and it works. But you can also get too complicated. On Twitter, you can even pull lists of users that you want to target and target ads at users. So one of the things, it's on a slide back there, but you can create lists on Twitter. So go in and, if you've got, again, a hyper-local business, go in and search for people who live in that area, Buckhead or Brookhaven or Sandy Springs or Dunwoody or whatever, and create a list of Dunwoody. And they're like, ooh, you put me on a list. They may follow you back. It's a thing. I don't know why, but it's a thing. And then you can also target ads to them. Yeah.
Do you find yourself boosting posts that are linking to outside your brand, or engaging with sharing content that's relevant? Or
That's a great question because it depends on what we're doing, right? If we're trying to sell product that is online, then we're trying really hard to link over to that. If we're trying to get people into a store, all we're trying to do is create a relationship with them and provide content that's valuable and it's an experiential thing. So yeah, we might link to a BuzzFeed list. And they often get the best engagement. So, if your goal is to try to communicate with them where people are communicating, which is in social media, then yeah, go ahead and post other brands' content. Yes. Well, on Facebook, pretty much, we do have some posts that get really amazing organic reach, but most of the time they don't. So most of the time, if you're gonna post it on Facebook and you want it seen, you're gonna have to boost. Not always, but I mean sometimes we posted a map to some derby activities in a restaurant in Louisville that got that crazy insane organic reach, which is why I say wait an hour.
I think from my experience, some of the brands that there's a personality connected to the business. So I've had great success posting people and tagging them and people are tagging.
Yeah.
Those
Right. So yes, so posting photos of people and tagging them and doing that on Twitter. Is that what you're doing on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook? Yeah, we do that a lot of times. So I kind of skipped that, but anytime anybody posts anything about us anywhere, like I said, we try to repost that and of course tag them. And then that's part of the whole doing a contest like teacher appreciation or nurses appreciation, because then they tag their friends and now their friends get to be introduced to your brand. So if you can involve them in that effort as well. Things that used to work on social, like asking questions, don't work anymore. Nobody does it. Because they don't want the notifications. They just don't like it.
Yesterday you spoke on doing, if you're marketing B2B, use Facebook if you're speaking specifically to people who work in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, who's your target? Unless you're talking to people who aren't on Facebook. But like if your target is, a lot of women work, a lot of men work that are on Facebook. So, I mean, our Baker Audio Visual has, I think, 3,000 followers for a regional audiovisual company. We kicked that off of the contest to their mailing list, their email list. Yeah, I mean, who are the decision makers? The decision makers are people who are likely to be on social, figure out what social channels they're on.
Sure, how do you explain clients that say social media should be for selling?
It's the same argument that I had 20 years ago before social media, which is when I was in television, which is if you aren't there and your competitors are, you're going to look like idiots. And it is one of the best ways these days to build a brand, assuming you don't have a budget to do television. And to do television and do it the way we did it, it doesn't work the way it did 20 years ago, but it's super expensive. So it's the only way you can talk to customers, prospects, and reach out to them. Does that answer your question? Okay.
So, personal experience working with you, a particular client or two would say, why would I spend X amount of dollars if I don't really know how I'm going to get that money in return?
So a lot of times I'll tell them that, especially for a new brand, in Barry's case, they're going to go, your customer prospects are going to go online, and particularly for a high dollar item like a mattress, they're going to spend some time researching it, right? That's what we like to do. We go online and research it. They're going to see your competitors. They're going to check out your competitors' social pages. Y'all aren't going to have a presence. Your credibility all of a sudden goes down to zero. So you're not going to have any sales. In terms of tracking the sales, as you know, we did lots of that. Jordan sitting right next to you is an expert at that. In Barry's case, their initial sales all came from social media efforts. So we did have some proof, albeit quickly, short time.
I like what you said, by the way, initially explaining it, that it was basically social proof.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the funnel, it's at the top of the funnel, and it is the funnel. It is part, equally as important.
Right. And I mean, there are tons of examples. I gave you the freshly picked baby moccasin example because I think she's amazing. But there's tons of examples. Misty Tucker, I'm telling you, that's all she does is hang out in Facebook groups. She doesn't spend a dime.
Yeah, building on that, for your small businesses and we want the ROI invested in it, what other KPIs can you give them?
What other, I'm sorry?
KPIs.
Key performance indicators. What other key performance indicators can we give them? So, I mean, some of this has to do with your skill as marketers and explaining the value of branding and the value of having that presence on social, because it is, like I said, your first line customer service or salespeople. So then you're going to look at other metrics like engagement rates, retweets, or things like that on Twitter. But you have to sell them on that. Some are more receptive than others. In television, we used to say when I'd have somebody who would say, television doesn't work, I'm like, okay, I'm going to run a campaign for you at 2 o'clock this morning that says, cars for $1. Is that okay with you? No! Okay, well, maybe it works.
How do you deal with clients? Like, I've had a lot of experience where we develop useful jokes or that sort of thing for social media, and they're scared of anything that's not.
I mean, you could show them some examples of brands. So I will say I wouldn't fight that too hard, because if they're reluctant to be a little bit out there, then that's who they are, and you have to be authentic in social media. So you need to find authentic ways to represent them. But I mean, I'll be honest. I was a little bit nervous about the Love is Love, and Barry is the mattress client, and said, "Are you okay with this? Here's what could happen, and here's what I hope will happen." And he was thankfully okay with it, and it turned out really well. But I mean, I've had times I've done jokes where I stepped in it, and I had people responding like, "Why would you say that?" I was like, "I'm so sorry. I thought it was funny." So yeah, it is a risk. Political jokes? Yeah. Although we will say, during political season when there's like a ton of ads running and it's over, we'll say, "Thank God the ads are gone. Now we can get back to watching The Voice," or whatever.
Uninterrupted. Not that anybody doesn't fast forward through it anyhow, but other questions?
Thank you guys for coming. So I'll have that on SlideShare. Feel free to reach out.